Welcome back to the Built to Grow podcast. I'm your host, Tim Lyons, joined in studio by Randy Angston. What's up, dude?
How we doing?
Good. Good. This episode's going to probably ruffle some feathers.
It's going to.
But just want to chat about it. Just kidding. All right. So where do I start? CrossFit is a methodology, right? Everybody's heard of it. It came on the scene, I don't know, gosh, I don't have all the data, but like, let's say early 2000s. It was all the rage, 05, 06, 08, I don't know. But the data lately shows, even for the last several years, there's more CrossFit gyms, affiliate boxes, either closing or de-affiliating than starting, right?
Correct,
Like it's a dying brand around the name, right? Around the name. And, because I'm a gym owner, I get served with a lot of ads from fitness marketers and fitness business coaches. And one of the ones I saw, I don't know who it was from, but it was pretty interesting because it said, all right, so, the CrossFits are closing at a rapid rate. And the reason is because the CrossFit HQ doesn't teach the affiliates business. And the reason the affiliates are failing is because they don't understand business. And I'm here to tell you it's not because the affiliates don't understand business. They may or may not.
Sure.
They may or may not. I'm certain there's plenty of CrossFit affiliates that are great business people. My take on CrossFit and the model is why it's failing is because the model's flawed.
Yeah.
What is CrossFit, for example, as far as the modality of training? It's done in large groups. Okay, so call it large group training. It is at a price point that's cutthroat, right? You can have one across the street and everybody's going down. I've seen them as low as $99 a month. And as maybe as high as let's just stretch it to $250, right? $225. But there's usually a 1 in front of that monthly number. It's going to be 150 to 180, 199, somewhere in there. And that right there, the model, the price point,
what you're delivering,
what you get as a client of a CrossFit is the problem with CrossFit. The problem with CrossFit's the model. It's not that you don't understand business. It's just you can never succeed for the long run. Now, are there CrossFits that do big money? Sure, absolutely. It's going to be one-off.
Yeah.
But why are they closing at a rapid rate? Why are people de-affiliating? There's no value in there. And it's harder and harder to grow a CrossFit business. And they close the doors. And I would tell you, like, here's two things right off the top. The price point's one. But, like, the location of a standard CrossFit.
Sure.
Okay. It's typically done in industrial or office complexes in the back, cheap rent. And it was almost like this rite of passage where, who got the cheapest rent back in the day, and we got these roll-up doors, and it's dirty and grungy, and you just serve this certain population. Does it appeal to a particular demographic, 25 to 40-year-old, ex-athlete? Of course, it does.
Yeah, I mean, it's all based around the game, right?
Right. Well, it's based around being the best at fitness. Yeah. Okay. Can you get incredible shape there? Yeah, you're also going to get injuries and everything else. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the business model itself. It's hard to find. It appeals to a really a younger demo, which typically is either moving
more
or
transient,
more transient, tighter with funds.
Mm-hmm.
The fact that it's hard to find is also a part of this issue. But like the fact that you're serving a large group training class where everybody does a WOD. Everybody's doing the same thing. So the value of the actual workout there is no value of the workout. You used to be able to pull it off of online, right?
Yeah.
Right. So what is the value of a CrossFit? Okay, you got a rack and some barbells that maybe you don't have at home. The community, they lean on that very hard. What else? It's not the programming. It's not the delivery. Is it the coaching? I wouldn't say it is. I think the value of any business, or fitness business, I should say, whether it's large group, semi-private, private, is the customized programs for me as the client. That's what I'm willing to pay for.
Correct.
I'm not really here for any other reason for than myself. Like I'm here, I'm paying this money so I can get a specific result for me.
Yep.
And you're not getting that at a CrossFit or a large group or Orange Theory or Burn. You're doing the workout, you're getting hot and sweaty today. Even over in private training, that would probably be the most valuable. Mm-hmm. It's also the highest price, and it pulls people out of that as well. But if you're in a private training studio, you got a one-on-one coach, full attention. Maybe they're doing all of your other stuff. Maybe they're even stretching you after. Your workout's customized to you. I would just imply that that's the highest value of programming, whereas the lowest is your large group.
Yep.
And that's where CrossFit lives.
It does, and there's a couple of things about that. I mean, CrossFit is an affiliate; it's not a franchise, right? And so the expectation that the affiliate is teaching you business is silly to me. Right, that wouldn't be something I would expect by borrowing somebody's name and being able to use that.
I don't think there's any argument as to why they don't or that they expect them to, but that was the excuse this particular coach was saying, was because they don't teach you business or CrossFits aren't great business people.
I talk to franchise owners all of the time that are in a similar position that have, a better franchise, better information behind them, teaching them a little bit deeper than what they're getting with CrossFit and the affiliate side, and they're still struggling. And the commonality? The model that they're in, right? We know that the large group training model is ultra competitive. To your point, it's very, it's like saturated, right? Like there's the ability to get hot and sweaty in many of these different service offerings. The low price point. Do you remember, who was that speaker that you saw? Was it Abram?
Jay Abraham.
Yeah, what was that quote that you mentioned?
Oh, this hits me hard every time I read it or even recite it. The only economic reason to be in a particular business is to beat the next best use of that capital, time, and energy.
With that being said, are you, like, if you're looking at opening up a gym or fitness business, and you have CrossFit here, you've got large group other options here, you've got that one-on-one training here, you've got semi-private sitting in the middle here-ish, which one is the greatest opportunity, is the greatest use of your time, resources, and energy?
Semi-private, by far.
That's where I would obviously start. We would recommend sit back, look at your opportunity in the arena that you're stepping into. Mm-hmm. Everything that we just laid out says, look at the averages. What is the average CrossFit doing in a month? Is that where I want to position myself?
That was at 16,301.
Right? Is that the gym is that the results I want for myself? As a business owner, am I happy with that? Because you're going to fall somewhere around here. I mean, maybe double the average.
Well, check this out. We had Dan Waymera from Push Press at our last Growth Summit. He's also coming to our next Growth Summit. But he threw up the data, right? And because that was one of the reasons I wanted him to speak, because he's got compiled data, and he said himself over 90% of our customers are CrossFit based businesses. And when he did the cluster chart of all of the revenue per month, it was a monthly revenue. It was like an 80, 15, 5, right? So 80% lived under $20,000 a month. There was this cluster of gyms, right? And then there was a couple over here at 40, 50, and then there was these outliers that were doing 70, 80, 100 per month, 100,000 per month. And I said, okay, well, what are these ones doing over here? And it was training revenue. It was personal training, semi-private. That's what drove the revenue. Everybody else that lived in that CrossFit large group, with a 1 in front of your membership dues, were $20,000 and under. So 16,301, which was a State of the Union that Two Brain. They do a hell of a job by putting that report. I do enjoy reading that every year, but it's CrossFit focused. Of that, those numbers are coming from CrossFit businesses, because I think they pretty much coach CrossFit gyms mostly.
The majority of it. I think the breakdown of the other.
Yeah, but it's like that's the normal. That's the average. That's what you're going to get, and it's not because they don't understand business. That's the thing I would argue. That's the point of this episode. It's not that the owners of the operation don't understand business, don't understand how to do payroll and run ads and market and all the things that would a good business would do. It's the model.
It's a model.
The model is flawed. You're in a sinking ship with the model. And for all the reasons we've already discussed, there is an opportunity, however, for CrossFit gyms. It is going to take work, and we've done this with CrossFit gyms in the past, but you can change your model and you can change at least your offerings to introduce semi-private training the way that we believe scalable semi-private training should be run. It's just not throwing it on your offerings of services and hoping for the best. It's a rollout strategy. It's a different marketing angles, and it's a different model and delivery system in itself. I do believe CrossFit gyms, affiliates, can introduce semi-private. However, you can't introduce CrossFit into semi-private.
Sure.
The CrossFit WOD is the antithesis of what semi-private programming is.
Exactly.
It's the opposite of it, right? Yep. It's like that's this, and that's why it's 100 and change, and this is why this is 500 and change.
Yeah.
And, for every one person you sell into semi-private, that's 4.5 over here, or three and a half over here. So anyways, that's my hot take on that particular ad that I saw. That was just not, I just don't believe that's the case. I believe it's the model.
I agree. And it's the trend in all of large group and on top of it, you know what I mean? Like, you're fighting an uphill battle, and it's just the decision whether you're stepping into the business and you're putting all your eggs in that basket, or you're in that business right now, and in the choice you're faced with is, do I make a change? Yeah. Or do I continue riding this out and seeing what it does? If you're not getting the results year over year, if you're not growing at a rate that you feel that is serving you as the business owner, why are you doing it? And, I think you said, I don't know if it was this episode or the previous one, but you said, maybe you just want a nice little hobby, small business, and if that's the thing, if you have your box so that you have a place to go work out yourself each week, so be it. But God forbid that be what you're dependent upon to, feed your family, take care of your lifestyle, create an opportunity for generational wealth. It's not going to happen if you're playing that game. Yeah. And but the choice is yours, right? Like, you're not stuck to your business just because you're not stuck to that model just because you're a CrossFit business. Sure. There are other ways, like we said, we've absolutely helped CrossFit gyms bring in semi-private and a higher valued service that differentiates. And the big thing that I see left to right is the uniqueness, right? The individualization, the customization. That is a unique selling unique selling proposition compared to walk in and do what everyone else is doing. Mm-hmm. You're only going to get so much revenue from that. You're only going to be able to charge.
It's only worth X.
Exactly. Yeah. And the marketplace is the ultimate decider, right? Yeah. It doesn't matter how much you believe in it. It doesn't matter how much you love CrossFit. If the marketplace says this is a price point we're willing to pay for it, that's the price point you're ever going to get for it. Yeah. And the game of averages.
Yep. It's just what it is. Yeah. And the kicker about the CrossFit in general, the unique mechanism of which it is as a whole, is the guy next door to you could also...
He's doing the exact same thing that you are.
Can offer the consumer the same thing, and there's no like radiuses of exclusivity for location. So, like, anybody can open up a CrossFit around the corner and do the CrossFit like you, and now it comes down to price.
I think I figured out we had within, like, how far is the air park? 8 miles from here, maybe?
Not even, man.
5 or something? Yeah. I think it was 25 gyms we figured out.
CrossFit gyms?
Just in total, but I mean, the majority of them were CrossFit in that style of gym, right? Roll up, back door, no air conditioning.
It's way more than that, man.
Is it now?
Yeah, it's way more. If you threw a 5-mile radius around this right here, this location, you'd find, and they would all be over there, but you'd find at least 55, 60 gyms.
Isn't that insane? But guys, think about that, right? Like, Tim's, that's the level of competition we play with every day, and I can tell you with confidence we're winning, right? If you're in a small town and you're one of 2 or 3 gyms, like, you have every opportunity to be the dominant business in that arena. There's no excuse, right? You implement the things we talk about on the show every day, and you will absolutely be able to beat that competition. But you can't do it by positioning yourself just like them provide the same thing that they're offering at a price point that's $1.50 or $5 cheaper than them, and expect that that's going to be the differentiator.
Well, the kicker of this whole thing is, if I'm let's just say I'm a CrossFit box owner and I'm doing the average $16,000, $17,000, $18,000 a month, and I'm looking at all the people that are in that world teaching other people to do the same model as them, and they're doing 22,000. Or I look over here and there's this whole other model doing 40, 50, 80, 100,000. I'm going to stop listening to the people that are broke over here in this group or coaching other broke gyms, because 16,000 guys, that's broke.
Yeah.
I even said it, if I didn't make in this gym, if I wasn't making $30,000, I would close. I can't afford to spend any more time not making profit, not making good, what I would consider good revenue.
And it goes back to the
best use. Yeah, the only economic reason to be in your business and not do another business, another industry, another model, is to beat you're in the best one. It's the only reason to stay here, is just that you're in the best one. But the numbers prove otherwise for CrossFit. The CrossFit box owner isn't wealthy. That doesn't mean they're bad people. It's just they're not wealthy.
The vehicle that they've chosen is not the right vehicle to get them to
the model
wealth.
The model is. And then they will argue you to the death about why their way is better, but like the numbers are the numbers.
Yeah.
And I don't care if you have 10 gyms doing 16,000 each. You've got your expenses at each one. You got all the stress of each one. It is what it is.
Well,
guys, I'm not going to argue about it. It's just what it is.
And we've talked about some of the things and some of the problems with the structure of those businesses too, right? So the delivery, like what you serve is a large group model, WOD style fitness offering. But then the other things that, like your part-time training staff they're all members, pulling 1 or 2 sessions a week. That's very light when it comes to a business structure.
Yeah.
Right. You're never going to get the revenue. The free, everything's free. Get started for free.
The military discounts, the family discounts, all of it.
It all works against the business making money. Then you throw in so from free. Man, I totally lost that train of thought. Anyways, but there's problems within the way it's being done also.
Sure.
That the trainer making 100% of the revenue for the session
for the personal
training. Right?
That's what blew my mind, and I argued it, and I got like so much heat from it. It was interesting because what is normal over there in the CrossFit world, and I don't know who's teaching it, is that if your coach is doing personal training sessions like off the schedule in your gym with your members, that the CrossFit box allows them to keep 100% of all of the revenue. And the idea behind that was, well, we want to keep the coaches. And that's the reason.
Yeah.
Well, why don't you just don't do CrossFit and do all personal training and make all the revenue and do splits and
as a business,
you know what I mean? And
yeah.
do hourly and salary.
Exactly.
Anyways, all right, that's it for this episode. That's the rambling. But the point of this is, it's the model, guys. It's not that the business owners aren't smart business people. I don't believe that's to be true. It's not rocket science to run a gym anyway. So like that's kind of like condescending if you think about it. But it's the model, guys. If you're in a CrossFit and you're struggling, working harder at being in a CrossFit isn't going to get you to the path that you're on, that you want to be on. So
you ever slam your head against a wall for hours and expect something to change?
Keep working harder. And that's the thing about gym owners in general, CrossFit or not. Like, hard work is not like, it's part of their DNA. You're going to work your ass off, sun up to sundown. You go in, you do whatever it takes, which I admire. But if you're in the wrong model, that's the problem. You can't outwork.
You can't outwork it. Exactly.
So, anyways, hopefully that helps you guys. If you need help with anything, link will be in the show notes. We'd love to chat with you, see if we can't help you. If you're a CrossFit owner and you want to move to semi-private, we have a program specifically for you. Book a call in the show notes. That's it for this episode. Until next time, keep changing lives. See you. All right, thanks for listening to another episode of the Built to Grow podcast. If you want more help growing your business, join our free Facebook group, Profit Accelerator, helping training gyms grow to $30,000 a month and beyond. We'd love to see you there. Go check out the show notes for the link and keep building something great. And we'll see you in the next episode.